Hey y'all, Ramdano here, coming at you from the Green Tunnel. Well, guess what? This Green Tunnel ain't nowhere near the mountains. I'm about as far east and still be on the continent from the AT as I can possibly be. But I wanted to show you that there's other green tunnels around, and this one's down at Fort Fisher, North Carolina. What am I doing down here? I'm planning my next trip on the AT. To find out where I'm going, stick around. So where am I going? Well, I decided I was going to go somewhere a little further north than I've been going. What my idea is, I want to kind of save the quick day trips that I can get to within a couple hours for within driving distance of my home, which is in Cleveland County, North Carolina. So those are trips down to like Georgia, of course, North Carolina, Tennessee, Southern Virginia. So since I had about a week vacation to take off, then I want to go a little further north, so I decided that I would go up in the Northern Virginia on the north end of the roller coaster and start there and do 4 states. So I'm going to start at Bears Den Hostel in Northern Virginia, and I'm going to hike from there into Harper's Ferry, which is West Virginia, so there's 2 states, and out of Harper's Ferry into Maryland, and continue on, do all of Maryland, and continue on up into Pennsylvania, and in my northern terminus at Caledonia State Park in Pennsylvania. So that's going to give me 79.7 miles, so about 80 miles, not including whatever little blue blazing I have to do to get to Bears Den Hostel, so on and so forth. And if I have time on my way back home, I think I'll probably stop by the trailhead for McAfee Knob in Southern Virginia and hike up there, maybe spend the night and watch the sunset and the sunrise. So let's take a look at logistics of how that's going to work. So there's several resources that I use when I'm planning a hike, particularly one that's going to be about 80 miles. So I use the one of the first things I use is AWOL's Guide, which most people use. I also use the Thru Hiker's Companion, which is published by the Appalachian Trail Conservancy. I use National Geographic maps to kind of just look at some topos and stuff. I use Guthooks, which is an app on my phone. And then I also use some online resources, like post to some forums like White Blaze, which is a forum for Appalachian Trail hikers. And I also post to the Facebook page of Appalachian Trail section hikers. So all of those online forums, people, you post a question and people will answer very quickly. Last night I posted to Appalachian Trail section hikers, and it took me about a minute, and I had 8 answers to my questions and different opinions and stuff. So one of the things I was concerned about is what the water was like. If there was water availability along the way. And looking at Guthooks app, there was not a lot of water sources along there, and several of the sources were a good distance away from some of the shelters. And it's like at the Ed Garvey shelter there, Ed Garvey shelter in Maryland. It's a half-mile downhill, very steep hill to get to the water. So I don't want to, I need to camel up before I get there. So asking questions and getting people to answer and stuff is pretty easy and pretty resourceful, and that worked out really good. So we'll see if all that pans out, and on my post-hike review, I'll let you know how it panned out. But my itinerary pretty much is going to be as follows. I'll be starting out at Bears Den, and then I will be going to the David Lesser shelter for the night. That's about 11.2 miles. I was attempting to try to only stop for groceries on several occasions. I was going to try to go as light as possible and not carry groceries for 7 days. And so I'm still going to try to do that. but there's a grocery store right after the David Lesser shelter. It's about 3/10 of a mile off the trail, but that's only a day into it, so I probably won't stop there. The next day I'll be going from David Lesser into Harper's Ferry. Harper's Ferry does not have a great place to resupply according to all the resources, so I have to be carrying through there. And then the next day I will end that day at the Ed Garvey shelter after Harper's Ferry. So that'll be about a 15.6 mile day for me. And then day 3 I'll be ending at the Dahlgreen campground. At that place, at that campground, I can catch a ride into town. Try my hand at literally at hitchhiking. Never hitchhiked before, so but these trail towns are pretty friendly to hitchhikers, so we'll see if that works out for me. And I plan to go and resupply there at Dahlgreen campground. The next day I'll be at the Ensign Cornwall shelter. That'll be about a 14-mile day for me. Continuing on the next day on day 5 to Deer Lick shelter. And then on day 6, my last day, which will be a 13.6 day, I'll be going to Caledonia State Park. So all of those are very reasonable. That only puts me at day 6. I've actually got 10 days to do that, do the whole hike. Obviously not going to need that, but if for whatever reason I need an extra day in there, I've got it, and also an extra day to stop there and spend another day on the trail down, as I said, down in southern Virginia, there at the Overlook. So that's pretty much what my itinerary is. One of the things is that in Harper's Ferry, I do want to stop and go to the ATC and the visitor center there and look through the museum. I'm going to hit it on a Sunday, and I was a little concerned about that, but looking online, their hours Sunday are 9 to 5, so they're open 7 days a week. So probably when it's not through hiking season, they may not be, but right now they are. So I'm excited about getting a chance to see that there in Harper's Ferry. One of the things that I was concerned about initially is where to park, if it was going to be safe to park, if it was going to cost me to park there in Caledonia State Park, and I emailed the rangers there, and fortunately they have it set up specifically for AT hikers. They have a parking lot behind the ranger's house that's specifically there for AT hikers. And so they said if I register and let them know I'm there, then they will take some extra precautions about looking after my vehicle. So that's pretty cool that they are that open to hikers and parking there right behind the ranger's house. So I'm glad to hear that. I'm going to be averaging somewhere around 13 to 14 miles a day. That is probably low for me. So I may actually finish a day early. We'll see. I'm not really looking to try to finish early. I'm more interested in enjoying the trail, enjoying the time while I'm out there, enjoying the sights. There's several views, several sights to see. But I also don't want to just go at a snail's pace, because I have a pace, and if I get off that, then I just don't enjoy it. So looking at the profile on Gut Hooks and in AWOL's guide, the profile compared to what I've been hiking, specifically my last hike there in Roan Mountain Highlands, is not going to be flat by any means, but once I get past the roller coaster initially on my first day and on into Maryland and PA, the terrain is going to be not near as steep and as many ups and downs as what I'm used to. So probably make pretty good time, and probably have a lot of time just to kind of chill out at some of the sights and views, and just kind of see some things, and maybe do some things that I don't typically do, and just take my time and just to really enjoy it. So I'm excited about that, about being able to take my time and see the things that I don't normally take the time to see, that I don't normally linger at views. While I do stop and look at them, I just don't always linger there. So I'm looking forward to that. So a couple of things that I'm going to get to see along the way and maybe linger as I go. One of the things is just Bears Den Hostel in and of itself. It's a pretty old hostel on the trail. It is like a rock, built out of rock. I believe it was built by the CCC back in Roosevelt's day. And so that's going to be pretty neat to go there and see that. Then, of course, I'll be crossing the West Virginia line. So I'll be and doing all of West Virginia. So that'll be one more state that I've got under my belt. The Blackburn AT Center is nearby. So it's only 0.2 mile off the trail. So I may decide to go up there and take a look at that. It's kind of a hostel as well, but it's a historic area. And then I'll be crossing up on into Harper's Ferry, and I'll go to the ATC, the Appalachian Trail Conservancy, and go to the visitor center there and see what they got going on there. Harper's Ferry is also a very historic town, so have the opportunity to walk around and look at some things there. I'll be on the C&O Canal towpath, so that's another famous thing. Where they used to haul freight back in the day with horses and barges up from D.C. up the Potomac. And then the Dahlgreen Backpacking Campground's a pretty neat place in and of itself. There's a really nice restaurant there, so they say it's a place where thru hikers go through and can go and get a first-class dinner, even as a thru hiker, as smelly as you get. I'll be going through the original Washington Monument State Park, so get a chance to see that. And within there's also the War Correspondents Memorial, so I'll get the opportunity to see that. Weverton Cliffs is a pretty neat little place that people go to, and got some pretty views there. And of course, there's a lot of good views all the way up through there. Then I'll be crossing over into well, by that time I'm already in Maryland once I leave Harper's Ferry, so got West Virginia knocked out. And then I'll be crossing over into Pennsylvania from Maryland after I get that done. Be going by the Antietam Shelter, which was named for the Antietam the Civil War battleground that happened nearby. Oh, let's see what else we got here. That pretty much brings me into Caledonia State Park. So lots of views, lots of really neat stuff. The terrain's really going to be a whole lot different than what I'm used to, so I'm looking forward to seeing what type of time I can make over a little less rigorous terrain. But of course, I want to take my time and just enjoy the trail. And so I'm, again, not interested in making a great deal of time and shortening my trip. Well, that's pretty much the logistics of the trip. So let's go inside now and take a look at the gear and the kit I'm putting together, and see what I'll be taking and what on this trip that's different than what I've had on other trips. And we'll get a base weight and an overall pack weight. All right, so we'll just go ahead and start with what I'm actually going to be wearing. This is my PFG Columbia shirt. It's long sleeves for protection from the sun and from the bugs. I'll have on a pair of zip-offs here for same reason, protection for the suns. Also, I don't wear gaiters, so the long pants help keep rocks and stuff out of my shoes, but if it gets too hot, I'll take those off. I am changing up my normal shirt. This will be the shirt on top. That's what I'll be starting out with. I noticed that the ribbing on this shirt right here, the last time when I wasn't wearing my long sleeve shirt, that ribbing, the pack straps rubbed on that ribbing, and it kind of aggravated me. So that shirt goes away, and that's my new shirt. And I'm going to be aware from now on to make sure I don't wear something that's got that kind of ribbing. As usual, I'll be wearing my liner socks and my Darn Tough socks. I've got 2 extra pair there. One will be for sleeping, and 1 extra pair of liner socks. I am switching up my shoes from my old trail runners to these new Solomons. This will be the first time they're on a trail, so this will be their maiden voyage and break-in. So we'll see how those work out, and I'll have a separate video for those that I'll be doing later as a review before and after the trail. Of course, my ex officio 9-inch and my cotton for camp shorts and an extra shirt. So that is pretty much all the clothing that I'm wearing on the trail, or extra stuff that I'm taking. Also, of course, I'll have my buff. Never go anywhere without the buff. Handkerchief for wiping my face down and stuff on the trail. Do have my Frog Togs jacket there for rain and also for warmth and wind breaking. And I've got my just rain pants here that I'll be taking for rain, obviously, and also for warmth if I need to, for wind. But the weather right now, it's been raining pretty bad up in that area and actually been flooding. But that is supposed to move on out of here by 5 o'clock in the morning. And so it'll be several days before I get up into Pennsylvania. So hopefully all that water will be gone and there won't be any damage that I have to divert. So we'll check on that. Starting out then with actual gear, I have a 2-liter. I'm not real sure about the water sources along the way, so we'll have another liter bottle. So that'll be 2 liters that I'm taking. I'll probably start out with just filling one of them up just to save weight, and the other one only halfway up, and then go from there. TP, trowel. I have, of course, I'm taking my Sawyer squeeze, the normal size, and I have changed out to a different sack for that than I have for my other ones. My other sack split apart, so that's what I'll be taking for that. My oven for my freezer bag cooking. Of course, just some sanitizer, long handle spork for getting down in those bags. Cook system. I have a fuel canister in here from the my last hike that's partially full, and that's a full one. So that's the way I typically do. I usually have 2 of these canisters instead of one big one. There is a small weight penalty for the additional metal. However, when I run out of this one, I know I've got a full canister here, and I know that it's time for me to get a new fuel canister, as opposed to if I had a large size one, when I run out, I'm out without any type of fuel. So there's my food bag, same Z-Packs that I've had with the rock bag in it, and right now I haven't got my food squared away just yet. There is my butt pad, homemade out of duct tape and packing material. My electronics bag, I'm going to take a little tripod with me this time, just to maybe get some different perspective shots, those kind of shots where you set it up on the trail and walk into it or walk away or whatever. Charger. This is also a battery pack, stick pick, and earphones and cord for charging. Electronics is my flashlight. Let's see here. This is just a bag that I use for a couple first aid items and for food that goes on the outside of my pack. Do have my first aid kit here that I've got to add some of my medication to. I have yet to use this knee pad, but since I'm going to be gone for about a week, I'm going to go ahead and take it this time and see how that goes. I will be taking some bug spray because the bugs may be out this time of year. There's my pack cover. Okay, so that pretty much winds up the cooking and electronics. As far as my, of course, I'm taking my tracking poles as usual. I've got camp shoes. This is my wool toboggan that my mother made me, and I'm probably going to be leaving it home. Not much of a weight penalty there, but I just think I don't need it. It's going to be, the temperature is going to be, the low is supposed to be 69. So I just can't imagine needing that at all. My Aegis Max, once again, I know I have lambasted it in other videos, but the low again is going to be 69. If I get cold in that thing, then I'm just going to burn it. So there's just no way that I should get cold in that. My Outdoorsman Lab pad, liner that has no R value at all, just really there to keep the bag clean, and I may wind up just using the liner and not using the bag at all. My Sea to Summit pillow. I am taking my puffy. I can't imagine needing that, but rather be prepared. There is hardly any weight penalty for that. And a lot of the thru hikers that I've seen before, they say don't get rid of your puffy ever. So we'll take that, and that will probably be the only warm weather gear that I take. And that's one thing that's different that normally I have that I'm not taking is my Capilene bottoms and tops for thermal underwear. I will not be taking those this time. So it's not much of a weight savings there, but I really don't need it. I am cutting down on some of my clothes, so I'm not taking as much extra clothes as I normally do. Shelter-wise, I'm using the same old shelter that I always do. The footprint and the fly from my tent, which is a fast fly system. And all I need is the poles from the tent, the Big Agnes Mountain Glow Rattlesnake 2, and the footprint. And all that'll go together, so it'll be like a fly system. And then, of course, my Exos 58 off-spray pack. So all of that will go into there with no problem whatsoever. I'll have room left over. Another thing that I'm doing different this time is I am going to treat everything with some Promethean, and I'll be doing that tomorrow and giving it time to dry out before I hit the trail. So that's my kit that I've put together minus my food. So we'll get everything packed away, and we'll see what type of weight savings. Oh, the last thing is, of course, I went ahead and cut out some stuff from AWOL's guide, copied it, and my wife was kind enough to laminate it for me. So figure in case my phone dies or something like that, or gets wet, or just quits running, runs out of battery, that I'll have a backup there. But most of the time on the trail, I use gut hooks as my navigational aid. All right, so let's get all this stuff packed away, and we'll get it weighed. All right, so I've got my pack loaded up. We have done the weigh-in, and I am looking at a base weight of 16.6 pounds with a full loadout weight, including food and water, of 27.2. That 16.6 does include fuel. Some people don't include fuel in that. I do. Take off a half a pound, quarter pound for that. But anyway, I'm claiming 16.6 as my base weight. I'd like to try to get that down around 15, but I don't know what equipment I could eliminate. That is a summer loadout. I would have to get a lighter pack and probably a lighter shelter. So anyway, that's a very doable weight. That does not include what I will be wearing on my person other than my pack, which is my clothes and my trekking poles. All right, so we are just hours from moving on out of here. So we're going to do our final preps and get going. Well, I'm at the trailhead. I'm getting ready to head on out, getting ready to hit the AT. That's it for this week. Tune in next week. We'll see what kind of changes I made right before I left. As a clue to what kind of changes I made, check out the background. Till then, leave a comment down below. Give me a thumbs up. Hit that big old red subscribe button. And as always, appreciate you, and we'll see you out there.